Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here with you, Mahati.
Especially as someone who you love spoken word. So for you to be on a podcast is really my pleasure.
The pleasure is mine too.
First of all, I have to say congrats to the Madras Players completing 65 years this year. And I also know for you, it's been 51 years now this month.
Yeah, 51 now, yes. Running 51, galloping.
What do you think has been the reason behind its longevity of the group?
Okay, there's one reason I always say we've stuck together for 65 years. One of the main reasons is that we are friends. The other reason is that money has never mattered to us. Money has never been an issue.
Okay.
We never made any money out of Madras Players.
Okay.
In fact, we were out of pocket for conveyance most of the time.
Oh, is it so?
So we never knew where the money for the next production was coming or what money from this production was going into. Oh. So it was just so informal and friendly that there was no dispute. Probably that's another reason. The other reason was we all share a common passion.
Right.
Being the oldest in India and having run through 65 years, it's the passion that works.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But though initially what was surprising when I was reading about you was that you actually trained to be a mridangam player as a child.
That is right. Yeah. So many of us don't get to do what we are trained to do. Yes, it is. It is so. I was trained to be a mridangam player by no less than the legend Palghat Mani Iyer.
Yes.
But at the time when I was ready to play concerts, which was the mid 60s.
Okay.
There wasn't enough money in music to, give me courage that I could make a living out of this.
Okay.
Today it might have been different. It would have been different. Skype and teaching assignments and foreign tours.
Yeah.
In 1964, to my mind, I couldn't make a living out of music, even though I was a professional mridangam player at that time.
Was there anyone?
So, well, life moved on.
Okay. But was there anyone who, especially your gurus like Palghat Mani Iyer, was there no one who convinced you otherwise that money might be slow, but
no, I'm sure he was disappointed. Okay. I mean, he made me play after so many years of training at the Music Academy in 1964.
Okay.
And when I didn't continue, he was disappointed. But I think at some point, at some level, he understood that I couldn't make a living out of it. Even he at that time, I remember, was getting 450 rupees per concert.
Oh.
And he was at the top.
Yeah.
So if I imagine what I would have been paid at that time, if I had got 50 rupees in a concert, it would have been big.
Oh, okay.
So there was no future for me as I saw it in music then. There were others more courageous who went on. I didn't.
Okay. Do you still practice it, sir?
No, I'm an educated, enlightened listener. Once in a way, once when my children forced me to say, "We've never heard you play," I got somebody to sing and I played. Yeah, maybe once in 3 years I touched the instrument. Most of my instruments have been given away.
Oh, okay. All right, sir.
And it's not an instrument like the flute or the violin you can carry with you, right?
That's true. Yeah, it's pretty heavy actually.
It's a big thing, and you need somebody to sit and sing. Unlike a musical instrument, which you can just sit down and play.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's more percussion.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, percussion. You have to wait to somebody to do something.
Okay. Could you tell me how? So I know you did your education in Indian Institute of Management at Ahmedabad. And but how did you start your career as a voice artist? How did that happen?
Well, I was always interested in the sound of the spoken word.
Okay.
Of any language. Even in school, the foreign priests, the Jesuit priests who taught us I was studied in Calcutta all through
Yeah.
school. Calcutta as it was known then, Kolkata
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
So there were French and Belgian and Irish priests who taught us. And they were very perceptive. And my teachers discovered that there was an interest in me in the spoken word more than the other boys.
Okay.
He always made me read something or the other for Parents' Day or Teachers' Day or this or that. That kind of stayed with me, and I started reading news on television here.
Yeah.
In 1976.
In fact, I think you're among the first
And
few
then
English.
I was about the first, yes.
Yeah.
And at that time, somebody came to me and said, there is a documentary script to be read. Would you read it?
Okay.
So that is how it started. My first documentary script was for none less than BHEL.
Okay.
So from 1976 onwards, one thing led to another to another. Everybody jumped onto the wagon, and I became a voice artist.
Yeah.
And I was working at that time. So when the work became heavier and more work, voice work came along, I took early retirement in 1993 from the corporate sector.
Right.
But I was working for 27 years, and I came into this full time, and I still do it.
Okay. But of course, your true passion is the theater. And
Passion is the theater which gives no money.
yes.
Voice work is also a passion which gives me my livelihood.
That's good. So you found the perfect balance.
It is so. I'm lucky.
Yeah. But your first play, The Amazing Mr. Scuttleboom, that you acted in.
That was in school.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
that was in
No.
college.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And that's where
College.
you
School, I
got.
did other things.
Okay.
Yeah, 1969. I acted in a play in Loyola College where I studied.
Okay.
Where the play was called, again directed by an Irish priest, and it was called The Amazing Mr. Scuttleboom.
Yeah.
And Scuttleboom was a pirate who was also a poet. Very strange kind of story.
Okay.
And Amu Matthew, who was the president of the Madras Players at that time, uh, just came, and I got to know her around that time. Afterwards, when I came back to Chennai and directed a play for Loyola at the behest of my principal,
Okay.
a World War I play called The Long, the Short, and the Tall,
Yeah.
in 1969, because I was between jobs. I was between a job I was doing at Delhi and a job I was taking up at Chennai. And I directed this play for the Loyola Amateur Dramatic Society, LADS, they were
Oh,
called.
okay.
And this press, yeah, now it is called, I think, Loyola Dramatic Society.
Okay.
But the first play of Loyola was directed by me in 1969 outside of Loyola in Museum Theatre. It was called The Long, the Short, and the Tall, an all-male play on World War I.
Okay.
And in 1969, and this lady called Amu Matthew, who was the president of the Madras Players at that time, came to the Museum Theatre to see it.
Okay.
And she asked me whether I would come and do a reading for her the next day. I went and stayed on.
So did it hit you like immediately, okay, this is what I want to do, or was it a process that grew slowly?
Theatre was always something that I wanted to do. In fact, all through my corporate career,
Okay.
I worked in the day and with the thought that, oh my God, I have a rehearsal in the evening, how nice. So plays fascinated me. So the first play I did with them in 1969, called The Crucible.
Right. Yeah. And I think
Arthur
you,
Miller's The Crucible.
yeah. Okay. And I think you've done now more than 150 plays, sir, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know, I stopped counting, but certainly more than 125 or 130 plays, big and small. I would have
Okay.
done over the last 51 years. Yes, it's possible.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What was the initial response like? Did you face a lot of criticism about your acting?
Well, yes. Criticism is part of an artist's
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and critics are very much part of your life. Some of them
True.
praise you, and some of them tear you apart. I've had both.
Okay.
I've had both. Of course, the thing was that if you're passionate enough to pursue, you carry on. See, in the initial 10 years, because I was in my late 20s, all the kind of uninteresting chocolate hero roles came to me.
Okay.
All there is this is a romantic hero. Oh, he's there, he'll do it. So they didn't require anything from me, just to be a kind of romantic chocolate hero, so to speak. It's after the first 10 years that people started realizing this fellow's got a little more masala in him. So I started getting more character oriented roles.
Okay.
And of course, now it's a totally different ball game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot of, there were critics who tore me apart. There were
Okay.
critics who liked what I did. You must learn to take both as valid. I
Yeah.
think the artist, singer, dancer, actor must learn to take it as a valid opinion, because one hopes and one believes that the critic comes from a point of honesty.
Yeah.
If he or she thinks that they didn't like it, you must accept that there is a possibility that they didn't impress them. So, and if you're going to get all uptight about it, I mean, unless you know that it is, coming from some source that is dubious,
Yeah.
you have to take it and you grow with it. You learn, and somebody else says the same thing, then you say, hey, I think there's a point there. I got to look at it next time.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I've had my share of both.
But in the initial days, when you said the roles were repetitive, did you ever get frustrated and felt like, okay, why do I have to keep doing this?
No, there was theater was fascinating enough for me not to get frustrated. I mean, I did tell the directors who gave me those roles, hey, I can do a little more than that, you know. I mean, I just don't need to be a chocolate hero, murmuring romantic nothings
Yeah.
on stage. I mean, I can do other things. But at that time, when I started in Chennai, 1969, there weren't too many people of my age group. The age group then was older.
Okay.
In my age group, there were very few people. So those roles automatically kind of gravitated to me.
Okay. All right.
So
And
but anyway, because of my fashion, I continued with it. I mean, I didn't lose heart.
okay, that's nice. But back then, the society also was conservative. Did you face like any opposition from your family about wanting to be a theater artist?
No. Again, I would say lucky. Neither my parents. My mother was very interested in theater. She directed plays in Calcutta when she was part of the ladies' theater group.
Oh, that's
My
nice.
father was very fond of theater. He had studied in London and he had seen a lot of theater in England.
Okay.
So I was very lucky that both of them were very much into theater. And fortunately, my wife was also supportive of my
Okay.
theater antics. Over the years, she has been trying her patience at times, most times. But she too is interested in theater. She has done some theater when in school and college, and she
Okay.
has done some plays with me more recently after our children grew up. So there is a common interest. So yes, we are. I'm a little fortunate there. No problems.
That's nice. Okay. Your career and the lifespan of the Madras Players can pretty much reflect the growth of Indian English theater in the country. How would you
Right.
compare it to now and say like from when you 30, even 30, 40 years back?
Right. Let's talk about Madras Players.
Yeah.
When we started in 1955, till about the 70s, early 70s, most of the plays that we did were either English, American, European plays,
Yeah.
because those were the only plays that were available.
That's true.
In the 1970s, there's something very different happened in India. In the four corners of India, there were four people who were writing plays in regional languages.
Okay.
Badal Sarkar in Bengal, Vijay Tendulkar in Maharashtra, Mohan Rakesh in Delhi, and Girish Karnad in the south.
Yeah.
They were writing in their regional languages and translating. Girish Karnad was part of the Madras Players in the late 60s.
Yeah.
He was a manager here of the Oxford University Press.
Okay.
So he introduced us, and Amu Matthew, who was the president at that time, was very interested in Indian writing. So we started doing Indian plays. We did Girish Karnad. We did translations of Badal Sarkar and Vijay Tendulkar. And we did translations of Mohan Rakesh. So then we suddenly found that when we did this, audiences started getting more interested.
Okay.
The density of audiences improved because they could identify with Indian themes.
Yeah. That's true.
So from the 70s, I would say, the focus of the Madras Players has been 90% towards Indian writing, either in original or in translation or adaptation.
Okay. That's lovely, actually.
Yes. Yes, it is so. Now, it may be even more than 90%.
Okay. So that would have
And
definitely.
because of that and other things, our audience has grown quantitatively, like quite a bit.
Okay. That's wonderful. And I'm sure that must have been a great encouragement for Indian playwrights.
That is right. It also brought up local playwrights who started writing. People like Mahesh Dattani.
Yeah.
People like Chetan Shah in Chennai. People like Sri Kumar Varma also in Chennai. People like Sabita Radhakrishnan in Chennai. And again, other people started writing in English. Timeri Murari was a
Okay.
novelist, very celebrated novelist who started writing in for plays also, and we've done a couple of his plays. So there was writing that had started, the playwriting that had started by local people. So that also enhanced our thrust towards Indian English theatre.
Oh, that's yeah, no, that's an.
And the last three plays I directed were all written by local people.
Okay.
I had directed a play called Water,
Yeah,
which
Tanneer,
was a
Tanneer.
translation from Tanneer Tanneer. Then I directed a play called Chudamani based on the stories of R. Chudamani, translated by Prabha Sridevan. And then I did another play recently called Trinity based on the stories of the Carnatic music Trinity by Sita Ravi.
Yes, yeah, read about it.
So, I mean, my interest, if you ask me, more than perhaps even the Madras Players, my personal interest is in Indian writing.
Okay. And who are your favorite playwrights, sir?
Oh, plenty, plenty. I mean, I could talk of Arthur Miller and Tennessee Williams and the whole lot of it, and Shakespeare to start with. There are very many.
Okay.
Uh, but I have really enjoyed working on Indian themes, particularly, let's say, water.
Yeah.
I saw Water as Tanneer Tanneer on first day, first show when it was presented as a play in Tamil in 1980.
Okay.
And then 32 years went by before I found the translation by one Professor Shankar of Hawaii University.
Okay.
The excitement that I felt because I'd seen the play in 1980,
Yeah.
just bubbled in me. And then I said, I have to do this. So, yes, Komal Swaminathan is a favorite. I mean, there were many. I mean, I can name any number. But
Okay.
anything that works on stage is fine by me.
Okay. But did you have the apprehension that Tanneer Tanneer is about a village that faces water scarcity? Did you have the apprehension how it would be received when it's spoken in English, though the milieu is set in a village?
It's a very interesting question. when we staged it, we had a thought. I mean, we've done other Indian plays which were urban,
yeah,
where the language did not quite matter, but here are all illiterate. And I remember we had thoughts about this, but and then the great Indira Patsardi, the writer,
okay,
came to me at the end of the play, who came to see the play, and he said, "You know, you have done my plays. We have done a couple of his plays." He says, "You've done my plays, Tamil, from Tamil to English. They're all urban, so it's okay. But I came here thinking language would be a barrier in this kind of play. I'm very happy to tell you it was a carrier."
that's nice. That's an
Which was
interesting.
it was the best comment I could have received on this play. And it proved so, because we took it all around, and nobody ever came up and says, "Why is it in English? How can illiterate people speak English?" Nobody asked, because the story was so strong, the theme was so strong. Nobody ever asked us, "Why is it in English?" It kind of fortified us to do more work of that kind.
Okay. In that sense, what roles of yours that you find that found most challenging for you to do so?
There were many. In fact, I did a role in Adhe Adhure, Mohan Rakesh's Adhe Adhure,
Okay.
which I play five men in the mind of one woman. So that was a challenging role.
Yeah.
And there was another play called Anna Weiss. It's a Pulitzer-winning play where I play a father accused by his child of sexual harassment and abuse. And then I did Mahesh Dattani's Dance Like a Man. We were one of the first to do it other than him, where I played the protagonist.
Okay.
Yeah, there are. Then more recently, I did a play called Faith Healer,
Okay.
which is a play by play which talks about a man who goes from place to place healing people. Is he a fraud? Is he not a fraud? There are three kind of monologues. That was a very big challenge to me.
Okay.
Yes, there have been. And I did a Shiva Shankari's Mercy, which is on
Yeah.
euthanasia. She's a
Yeah.
novel called Karunai Kolai.
Okay.
I took it and made it a one-person show and called it Mercy, about a man who contemplates whether he should euthanize his wife after her being in coma for 9 years.
Okay.
It's a one-man show, the first one of that kind that I did, and that was a big challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Uh,
one can think about these things. That probably are more.
yeah. So, what would you say is your process to when you presented with such challenging roles and such diverse characters? What is your process of getting into the skin of the character?
First of all, you've got to read the material very carefully
Yeah.
and go outside of yourself to think about that character. You cannot think of yourself in him.
Okay.
You've got to think of him in yourself. So you've got to go out of yourself, out of the box, to think like that character. It takes a while. That is why our rehearsals are spread over 1.5 months minimum,
Okay.
45 days. So we keep rolling that character in our mind, and thinking about what happens to him, why does he do it, what else. And then if you can't understand it, then you go back and think about it. And also it matters, um, like one of my directors always used to say, that no actor acts in vacuum. There's always something from which he has come, and there's something to which he goes. The scene is not enacted in vacuum.
Okay.
So you have to think about what has happened to this guy before he came into the scene. Did he have a bad day at work? Did he have a quarrel with somebody? Did everything go wrong? Or did he have and then if he's in a bad mood, that makes it possible for him to enact it. And
Yeah.
it doesn't end there. He goes into another scene. Maybe he goes to meet his daughter or his son or somewhere else, or to a party, and he carries that baggage with him. So you've got to live that character 24 hours. If you
Okay.
do that, and I always say you must play, it becomes that you play the character, not play at him.
Okay. So that must be a
So this
quite,
is this
yeah. Sorry.
It's a process that sometimes is very troubling.
Yeah.
You can't sleep at night. There are some roles that I have done, like Anna Weiss and Mercy,
Yeah.
where you can't come home from rehearsal and sleep because the character refuses to leave you.
Okay.
I know, for instance, in Anna Weiss, when I play a father accused by his own daughter of sexual
Yeah.
molestation, and he denies it in front of the psychiatrist. I had two teenage daughters growing at home.
True.
So
Yeah.
every time I came home from rehearsal, it was very difficult for me to turn off, switch off. Sometimes these things live with you, and these are the problems an actor or an artist faces. He can't switch off. It's not a switch on, switch off thing.
Yeah.
You do comedy, you switch on, switch off. You do things like this, it's very difficult to switch on or switch off.
Okay.
So you have to be prepared, I think, for that. And most actors who are as serious as I think they should be would face this problem.
Okay. Is there anything that you would do to have a certain amount of equanimity when you're, going through this process, so that it doesn't?
It's no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe one listens to music or read a book. I don't know, different things. Just
Okay.
go out and get some fresh air. I don't know.
Okay.
But as I said, it's sometimes very difficult to
Yeah.
shake off what you have done at rehearsal, to shake off that persona you've entered
Yeah.
and come back to what you are. It's sometimes very difficult, particularly in very serious psychological plays.
Yeah. That's true. Um, Parallelly, you were doing your work as a voiceover artist. What has
Hmm.
been? Is it true that you voiced for ISRO also? You did for them.
Yes, I've done most of their presentations,
Okay.
um, like Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 2. I mean, they record all their launches. They
Okay.
make a film on all their launches.
Yes.
And for some reason or the other, for the last, 20 years or 15 years at least, they landed on me to do the voiceover. Now, I don't know how that happened or why it happened, but it has happened. So, much of this work is done at ISRO Ahmedabad.
Okay.
So they send the thing to me, and it's a matter of pride to me that I'm able to at least peripherally talk about something that India is so proud about.
Yeah.
The Chandrayaan 1 landing on the moon, or Mangalyaan reaching the Mars orbit.
Yeah.
So I've done, or the PSLV launch, the GSLV launch. So I have done all their launches and their associated films for them. And it's a matter of great pride to me. At least at one end of the scale, I'm associated with this wonderful work of the nation.
Yeah.
Um, and we were reading it, one realizes the kind of work that they had to go into to get all this done. Yeah, so like that, I'm also associated with the Defense Research Development Organization for their missile program and other things. So I know it's participating in a national activity, at least at one end of the scale, is a matter of which gives me happiness.
Yeah, definitely. It's a matter of pride as well. I'm sure for you. Yeah. But you also use your voice for something good, right? So, I mean, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
yeah, you read for
Yes,
visually.
I mean, I enjoy mostly. I mean, as I said, it doesn't matter whether I'm talking about tires or turbines or windmills or transmission towers, or whether I'm saying come to sunny Kerala, or talking about the Buddhist monuments in Andhra Pradesh, or the backwaters of Kerala, or the temples of Chennai. I'm interested. I'm never bored with any material that I read. And I know even if I'm not an engineer, but even if I'm reading about, let's say, turbines,
Okay.
or how to overhaul an MF-35 tractor, I know there is somebody at the end of the scale wanting to hear this.
Yeah.
And unless I make it interesting for him or her, they're going to get bored. So
Yeah.
it's a challenge. I mean, like if I read children's books,
Yeah.
and you got to use certain tonality for children. You can't say once upon a time there was a princess. You've got to say once upon a time. there was a princess. There is a difference because you're talking to children. Sometimes you're talking to corporate executives. Sometimes you're talking to mechanics.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're talking to high profile people who want to visit India as tourists. So you want to say, come to the backwaters of Kerala. There's such a different thing. You have to work your way down that. And you can't say, I'll read only interesting scripts. I have to read anything that somebody wants to hear. And because I'm never bored, this interests me greatly. And you're all by yourself. You're behind a microphone with one recordist on the other side of the glass, and there's nobody else, and a script in front of you. So you got to whip up enough energy and modulation and interest to make that script interesting for the listener. And I make it interesting for myself. That's the crux of it. If I make it interesting for myself, I know you, when you hear it, should find it interesting.
True. That's a wonderful way to look at it, sir.
Mm.
In fact, I had the pleasure of being at a book launch where you were reading excerpts from the book. And
is that right?
It was really, I mean, I was working as a journalist that time, so I was covering the book launch. And it really, the ability in your voice to transport, the audience.
Yeah, actually, it's so. I mean, it's a skill like other skills that people possess. The words actually jump up at me. They make me want to say them.
Okay.
So it's that is the interest I have. Plus, there is one additional thing in voice work, and that's why not too many people are in my profession. See, there's a lot of proper name reading that you've got to do. Yeah. You've got to do Tirukkattupalli and Tiruthirupundi and Tiruthani and Varathanad and Tirumurugatuppadai and Varangals and Visakhapatnams. And also when you read medical scripts, you've got to say ophthalmology and neurology and sphenoethmodectomy. A lot of people balk at this. For me, it's like, like they say in Tamil, it is like halwa. The more I get of this, the more I love it. And if I don't know the pronunciation, I go and ask people.
Okay.
For instance, did you know it was Varanasi? What would you say is Varanasi?
Varanasi.
No, that is wrong. It is Varanasi.
Oh, okay.
Yes. In fact, there are very many texts. It is Varanasi. Warangal.
Warangal.
No, it's Varangal.
Okay.
It is from the Tamil Oru one stone.
Oh.
Yeah, which over a period of time got eroded into Varangal. So, I mean, these are things that you learn as you go along. I also thought it was Varangal.
Yeah.
But because I can read and speak Hindi, and I can read and speak Sanskrit and read Sanskrit, I knew that Varanasi was Varanasi. Okay. Because Munshi Premchand in his novel Seva Sadan starts by saying, Varanasi mein ye hua tha.
Okay.
And it's obviously Varanasi. So, I mean, it's obvious. You can get away by saying Varanasi, but I can't get away by saying Varanasi. Yeah. I have to say Varanasi because it's a professional thing. So there are not very many people who are interested or capable or want to do this kind of thing. So there are very few people in my kind of work. I'm not complaining.
So that's nice. You have that innate curiosity to find out about.
Yes, interest. I have. Yeah. If I don't know a pronunciation, I will go to the dictionary. If I don't know a proper name, I will go to a dictionary. I know, for instance, your name is a name of a beautiful ragam.
Yeah, it is.
Mahati. And I know also the first creation in Mahati was done by the great P.C.Ramakrishna.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
All right, there you are. Yeah. So that's the level of my interest.
It's also Naradar's, the tambura is called Mahati.
It is. Yeah. It is. But the first Kriti in Mahati was composed by Dr. P.C.Ramakrishna. Yeah. He has named his house Mahati.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting fact. I didn't know.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So there you are. I given you something to think about.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for that information, sir. So what do you do to train your voice?
don't do anything that abrades your voice. That is, like, there are many things, First of all, um, I drink only, let's say, room temperature liquids. I don't drink what I call traumatic liquids. Neither too cold nor too hot. Each one
Okay.
is different, For me, it works. Then breathing is absolutely essential.
Okay.
Breathing, the pranayama, which we practice as part of yoga, and
Yeah.
sometimes as part of a spiritual exercise. For me, it's just breathing from the diaphragm through the lungs, through the pharynx and the larynx and the sinus, and you take it out. And you take it out in a sound of Om, A, U, and M. You do it 10 or 15 times, it will freshen your voice. And I do it several times during the day. I do it before every recording. And also, there are other things that a person who uses a voice, a singer or a speaker, tends to. You don't speak over ambient noise. And if I go to a wedding
Okay.
and there's this nadaswaram playing, don't speak over the nadaswaram. Your voice will go for a toss.
Oh.
There are things like that. And also, what many people cannot do, practice half an hour at least of silence during the day. Be silent. Nothing rejuvenates your voice more than silence. Our rishis used to practice it. It's no
Yeah.
great thing. They practiced it because it gave them energy. And finally, I think there is a thing when you record, an indescribable thing that is called mic friendliness.
Okay.
The
What?
microphones that studios use for my kind of professional work, for even a singer's professional recording in a studio, are very high-end mics.
Okay.
Mics like
Yeah.
Neumann and Heiser. They tend to pick out everything that's nice in your voice. But unfortunately, they're not selective.
Okay.
If you have something that is not, it will pick it out and amplify. You have to have a running love affair with the mic.
Okay.
Yes, the mic has got to love you. You've got to love the mic. There are sounds people cannot keep, the breathing sound or the clucking sound or the palate sounds, they can't keep out of the mic.
Yeah.
If they can't do that, recording becomes a problem. It's all right when we are speaking together like this,
Yeah.
but when you're recording, you have to be very careful. So ultimately, everybody has got a halfway decent voice. You don't have to sound like, let's say, Amitabh Bachchan to do any recording work. I mean, everybody's got a decent voice. I mean, you can't have a squeaky voice and record. I'm talking about men.
Yeah.
I would say 40, 50%, 40% of your work, of a voice artist's work, is the voice. Which is it pleasant? Can you modulate? 60% is feel.
All right.
If you don't feel, you can have God's own voice. You won't be heard properly. If you have 40% feel, you will do much better. It's ultimately, a lot of people don't realize clarity and feel are more important to the voice than the timbre of the voice itself. Of course, you would have to have a voice that sounds good, sounds
Yeah.
pleasant,
Okay.
can be modulated. Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
the 60%, a lot of people do not believe. A lot of people have come to me and said, I've got a nice voice, and I know they've got nice voices. They've got beautiful voices. The moment they sit before a mic, they're not, something happens. It doesn't come. So you've
Okay.
got to, as I said, you have a sort of romantic entanglement with that microphone.
That's so true. Yeah. Yeah.
And you
Es-
do that kind of work, so I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, especially after since I've started podcasting, I am been like
Yes,
overcritical. I've realized the difference of what you're talking about now. So yeah, I can.
it is so. I
Yeah.
mean, you must have, if you record yourself and listen to yourself, you should be able to listen without embarrassment.
Yes, I haven't yet
If
reached
you
that
are
stage.
embarrassed by, it's correct. Am I saying the right thing?
It's true because I haven't yet reached that stage. I'm still embarrassed when I hear myself talk, but
No, I
slowly.
think you have a good voice for the microphone in the sense that it is clear and sharp.
Okay.
Women's voices, sharp voices, clear voices do well on the microphone.
Okay.
Husky voices have a problem. There's too much breath.
Yeah, That's true.
Contraltos don't work so well, whereas mezzo sopranos work like which you are work better.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you, sir. um,
Mm.
of looking back in your career,
Mm.
is there something that you
Mm.
would do anything differently?
Well, I don't know. We've already covered this. I mean, if I were to take a decision on music today,
Right.
after 18 hours of 18 years of being trained by Palkat Maniyer, I might have become a musician.
Okay.
But it's like what might have been. What might have been doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
What is inescapable. What I can do is important.
True.
So that I'm never worried about the past. If I've missed out on this, never. I've taken everything as it came, and I've made the best of it to the ability that I have. I've never had any recriminations about, oh, I should have done that, I should have done that. Regret gets you nowhere. It's like
That's true.
toothpaste out of a tube. You can't shove it back.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't worry about that. Yes, the answer to that is if 1964 was today, I would have become a musician. But
Okay.
1964 is not today. So there's no point my regretting it. I did the next best thing. I enjoy music. I go to concerts. I know all these musicians who like me and speak with me and respect me because they know I come from a background of music. So it's nice. I become an educated listener.
Okay. All right.
So I have no regrets. I would never do anything different than what I'm doing today.
That's nice. That's wonderful.
And today and tomorrow is what I'm interested about. The past is history.
Yeah. That's true. What is the different things that changes or you would like to see when it comes to the Indian theater now, sir?
Indian theatre is evolving.
Yeah.
And the changes that we wanted to see were more young people getting into it, and it has happened. Even in Chennai, a lot of young groups are doing plays. A
Yeah.
lot of young groups are experimenting with the play medium. See, the Madras Players started it by going to regional theatre.
Yeah.
Now, younger groups are experimenting much, much more. They're more adventurous and they're doing wonderful things.
That's true.
Theatre is in the hands of the younger people. We have invited young people to direct us. So that's the kind of respect we have for the work that they are doing. I think theatre is going in the right direction.
Okay. What would you say has been the most rewarding part of your career?
I don't know, music and theatre, I would say. Music,
Okay.
theatre, and voice. Yeah, all three equal measure. I mean, like I because of my thing with music, my last play I directed, which even we took to the US, was a play called Trinity about Muthuswami Dikshita, Tyagaraja, and
Yeah, the Carnatic.
we had singers singing live on stage,
Yeah.
like Vijay Shiva and Gayatri Venkatraghavan and Dr. Sundar and a host of other musicians speaking English and singing live on stage to the stories written by Sita Ravi. And it was a beautiful experience for me because for once I could marry music, which was my past, and theatre, which is my present, into one composite whole.
Okay.
And these people were friends of mine who I know and who know that I'm interested in music. They were also very keen to associate themselves with a parallel art form.
Yeah.
Yes, so this gave me an opportunity. Trinity gave me an opportunity to marry music and theatre. It was a great experience.
Okay. Do you have any role that you're now hoping to do in the future? Any dream role?
Nothing's going to happen,
I'm
but
sorry. I'm sorry, sir. Could you repeat that? Yeah.
because COVID is happening, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've written a couple of things.
Okay.
I've adapted a couple of plays. Any play is a challenge, any play is a dream. So I can't say at this stage of my life and career, I can't say this is what I'm dreaming about. My dreams are all either in the past or in the present. The
Okay.
future I take as it comes.
Okay. So how you been keeping busy, sir, during this COVID phase?
Yeah, I've been writing a couple of plays. I've been translating some.
Okay.
Some voice work has already started.
Okay.
At my time, when I was sure that the studio is free for me and no with social distancing. So yes,
Yeah.
I am in the vulnerable age group, and I am at home for the most part. But I do read a lot. I do translate. I do a lot of translation work
Okay.
from Tamil to English. So that keeps me busy. I do a lot of play adaptation work. There are two or three on the drawing board already that I'm doing. So yes, I keep myself busy. Plus, I watch a lot of film. I'm a film
Okay.
movie buff.
Yes. Yeah.
I watch a lot of film with Netflix and Prime and Hotstar. I binge watch sometimes.
Okay. I know you had a lot of offers for movies. Could I ask what
Yeah.
was it about movies that didn't pique your interest?
Well, in 1993, when I took voluntary retirement, when I had still 10 years of service to go, a couple of movie makers, including Mr. Maniratnam,
Yeah.
whom I knew socially, came to me and said, "Hey, you have retired," because I'd been refusing to do any movie work when I was working. And now you're retired, you got to do something for us. So I did something first for a film called Tirda
Yeah.
of Maniratnam, where I have such a brief role that if you have you blink for a minute, I'm gone. And then I did the one for his brother Venkateshwaran called May Madam.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I did a couple of serials for her, and a couple of other serials which were good, all in the year 1993.
Okay.
Because that was when my voice work had not fully taken over after my retirement, and I had some free time.
Okay.
But movies had that. I realized one thing, but movie, whatever you take up has to be 24-hour. Movies have to had to engage me for 24 hours. I couldn't say no, I'll come today, I won't go tomorrow.
Okay.
So, and also because coming from the theater, movies are not shot in linear fashion. You know, they
Yeah.
do the 10th scene first and the first.
Yeah.
So still all my first love.
I'm
And
sorry. Sorry, sir. Could you say the
it
last
was
part?
not my first love. I mean, I could
Okay.
have managed. I mean, I was interested enough in doing what I did, but it was not my first love. And when the voice works required more behind a microphone, I the filmmakers, I told them, see, also at that time, there were a lot of North Indian heroines,
Yeah.
and they required to find fathers who were passable as their father. People like Simran and other people who were
Okay.
imports from the north,
Okay.
and who, if you had a very South Indian looking father, there would have been a disconnect. So at that time, they found me quite right for this kind of thing. And had I continued, I would have done probably 10 more such roles
Oh.
of fathers of heroines. But but no, I said no, enough. I experimented with it and I liked it and I enjoyed. I learned a lot from it as an industry, but that was not my 24-hour occupation.
Okay. All right, sir. So before I, end this, I thought I wanted to share with
Mm.
you. I'd actually had the honor also of interviewing Mr. Girish Karnad. This was way back in,
Okay.
yeah, in 2009. And
Mm.
yeah, I'm just bringing it up because, I know he was part of the Madras Players. You both worked
Yeah,
together.
we've acted together in Crucible. You played the protagonist,
Yeah.
and he has directed us in a couple
Yeah.
of plays.
Yeah.
His first play we did also called Yayati.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah, yeah. So
interesting.
Girish and the late Girish and
Yeah.
he was very much part of us, and he has in fact gone on record and saying whatever of the craft of theatre he has learned from Madras Players.
Yeah, he said that. I remember him fondly remembering his time in Madras, and he
Yes,
mentioned you and others at the Madras Players.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
he was very sweet. But anyways, yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Then of course he went into film. He also
yeah,
had to make money. Theatre never gave any money,
yeah.
so he did a lot of films afterwards.
Okay.
But anyway, we miss him.
I know, really miss him dearly.
We did a retrospective of Girish Karnad online a couple of months ago. We did two of his plays, Nagamandala and one more, Tughlaq.
Okay. Okay.
Which
Right.
we had done earlier. The recording we put up on YouTube.
Okay, I will check it out, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's probably not there now because it was on for a period of 3 days each.
Okay.
Nagamandala and Tughlaq.
Okay. All right. Sir.
We've done other plays. We've done Yayati, but there's no print available.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And we've done 7 Steps Around the Fire. That is the Tatanis. Then we've done This Man's Fire and Rain. So these are not available. But anyway, it was good to have been associated with him. And he was very much part of our change in thinking to Indian writing.
Okay. Yeah, he was one of the foremost Indian playwrights to
pioneer, forerunners.
Yeah. So
because he started writing here, our focus changed.
Okay. That's really good. All right, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for talking with me, and I hope you got what you wanted.
Yes, sir. It was all such an honor.
And let us know when this is coming out. And for my sake, you have to put it out on YouTube because I don't have Instagram and other things.
Sure, sir.
Podcasting. Yeah. You'll have to put it out on a medium that I can access.
Yeah. So the video.
Sometimes people can't understand. Sorry.
So we put short video clips on social media, including YouTube. So I will send you all those links.
The interview itself, you put it on YouTube at one time. I'm not in a hurry. Whenever you're ready.
Sure, I'll do that.
I'll see it at that time.
Yeah.
Okay, nice talking with you.
Yeah, same here as well, sir.
Stay safe and take care. Be happy.
Yeah, you too, sir. Stay safe.
Thank you and bye.
Bye, sir.